What do you know about the Viking Empire? During this episode of Chaos World we explain 3 little-known facts about the fierce Viking Empire. When we think of Vikings, the image that usually comes to mind is almost always the same: savage warriors with horned helmets, thirsty for blood, sailing the seas in their longships to plunder monasteries and terrorize the coasts of Europe. This image, popularized by films and legends, portrays them as a chaotic and one-dimensional force, little more than barbarian pirates in search of loot. However, this image could not be further from the complex reality that modern history and archaeology have revealed. Far from being mere plunderers, the Scandinavian peoples of the High Middle Ages formed a sophisticated civilization, with vast trade networks, advanced legal systems, and a political influence that shaped the course of European history. His achievements in navigation, diplomacy, and social organization completely defy the stereotype of the barbarian. In Chaos World you will discover other surprising little-known truths that are redefining everything we thought we knew about the Viking Age. Far from being disorganized hordes, the Vikings built true empires. One of the most impressive examples is that of Knut the Great, a monarch who, at the beginning of the 11th century, forged the so-called North Sea Empire, which united England, Denmark, and Norway under his rule. Knut's government was not based on brute force, but on political intelligence. By conquering England, he did not destroy its power structure, but rather integrated it. He maintained its laws and traditions, guaranteeing stability and prosperity. He was a king who understood that the most lasting power is born not from fear, but from respect. Knut was also a devout Christian who understood the value of religious diplomacy. He traveled to Rome, met with the Pope, and negotiated benefits for his kingdom. His generosity was so widely recognized that a bishop wrote in amazement: "Conversion to Christianity. We are amazed by your knowledge and your faith. We heard that you were a pagan prince, but now we know that you are a Christian and a generous donor to the churches." Knut's power was based on wealth, but this did not come from plunder, but from trade, a global network that united continents. The Scandinavians were exceptional navigators and traders. They founded large commercial centers such as Hedeby, Birka, or Koppang, where goods from all over the known world were traded. They exported amber, iron, furs, and walrus ivory, and in return they brought silk from Asia, wine and crystal from Europe, and spices from the Arab world. But his greatest feat was crossing the Atlantic. On the island of Newfoundland, in Canada, archaeologists found the remains of a Viking settlement. They arrived in the New World first. And a recent study managed to date the wood used in that place to the year 1021 AD. 5 centuries before the arrival of Christopher Columbus, the Vikings had already reached America. Such a vast commercial network could not exist without order, nor without laws. Contrary to the image of a chaotic society, Viking life was deeply regulated. Their political system revolved around the Thing, an assembly where free men discussed laws, resolved disputes, and made collective decisions. It was an early form of democracy, where every voice counted, and where honor was the basis of justice. Respect for the law was not an abstract concept, but a way of life. Even women enjoyed surprising legal protection and an autonomy unthinkable for the time. In Viking society, women could manage property, run farms, and, unheard of in much of Europe, initiate a divorce if they deemed it necessary. In an era dominated by patriarchal structures, Viking women shone with an independence that anticipated modern thinking. And perhaps the most amazing thing of all is that his legacy lives on today, in ways we can't even imagine. The constant desire for unity. Every time you use the Bluetooth connection, you are paying homage to a Viking king, Harald Bluetooth Gormson, the monarch who unified Denmark and Norway in the 10th century. When 20th century engineers created a technology to join devices, they named it in his honor. The logo you see on your phone is actually a fusion of two Nordic runes that represent the initials of Harald Bluetooth. The Viking of popular imagination, the barbarian with an axe and a horned helmet, is a caricature that fades in the face of truth. They were masterful mariners, skilled politicians, global traders, and visionary legislators. The true history of the Vikings reminds us that the past is never as simple as legends portray it. And perhaps, among the shadows of history, there are still many more truths waiting to be rediscovered. Subscribe to learn more with Chaos World.